He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. You know, it's fascinating. I'll discuss something on this program, and you'll hear it on another program the next day, or even on TV. Now, some time ago, I said if Hillary Clinton is elected, we will have a constitutional crisis. I truly believe that. I went through the pardon scenarios, went through the indictment scenarios. Now, all the geniuses on TV and radio repeat exactly what I said. And they have no shame, because they can't think for themselves. But that's why you're here. You do think for yourself. The smartest audience in radio. We will have 4 years of congressional investigations should the Republicans hold on to one or both houses of Congress. We will have brave, independent FBI and line prosecutor men and women who will continue to demand criminal investigations into Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, the Espionage Act violations, and so forth. And we should have, and I will lead the cause, a movement toward impeachment. Whatever the outcome, win, lose, or draw, that's the constitutional fix to a lawless, power-hungry, unindicted felon of a president. We will do all these things. We will push for all these things. And I don't give a damn if the liberal media like it or not. And that's the way that goes. We're also going to have another battle. A battle of ideas. Some of you roll your eyes when I talk about philosophy. Not many, but some. Oh, elitism. No, it's not elitism. Practical politics is based on philosophy. Over 100 years of statist progressivism is based on a philosophy, an ideology of centralized government in violation of the Constitution. This notion that populism is new is, of course, it's not new. It's called mobocracy. Those of us who believe in the Constitution, those of us who embrace our constitutional system, do not embrace Andrew Jackson. Nor do we embrace so-called nationalism. We embrace Americanism. The Constitution is not about nationalism. It's about federalism. It's about republicanism. It enshrines the principles in the Declaration of Independence. Recognition that the individual has certain unalienable rights apart from government, apart from any human force. That there is a moral order, right and wrong, good and bad, and so forth and so on. You don't get that from nationalism, populism, statism, progressivism, or any other ism. And what made the framers so brilliant is that they took these principles that go down through the ages, since before Aristotle, with the Stoics and the Sophists, and they took these principles and applied them to governance like no other people before. Like no other people before. And what's being done to this country with this aggressive, centralized statism has been done everywhere. This is just the modern incarnation of it, with bureaucracies and regulations and red tape and all the rest. It's tyranny by bureaucracy, tyranny by judicial oligarchy, tyranny by imperial president. It's all tyranny. Soft tyranny getting increasingly harder. And so we will duke this out after the election. regardless who's elected. Because if we're going to take our country back, we have to understand our principles. And the effort by the left and the pseudo-right to pretend that they represent the people with their class warfare, we represent the little guy, those are the elitists over there, and enough of that bunk. We're about individualism. We're the American people. We're not victims. We're powerful people with powerful ideas. And we're going to fight to get our country back. There is no candidate in this race who represents me. Not Evan What's-His-Face on Capitol Hill. Not the goofball they nominated with the Libertarian Party. Donald Trump's not a constitutional conservative. And, of course, Hillary Clinton is a soft Marxist. So you have to make a decision in a race like this. And I'm speaking to my fellow conservatives. You have to make a decision in a race like this. You're going to sit back and shoot arrows? Claim that you're morally superior? That you stand on high principles? Because you had nothing to do with what's going on? When tyranny is on the rise, that's simply unacceptable to me. People will make their own decisions. But I view the greatest danger to this republic at this time in this election to be Hillary Clinton. I don't even think it's close. I don't even think it's close. Hillary Clinton has no use for the Constitution. Hillary Clinton has a despotic mentality. Hillary Clinton set up that personal server for which she's never been held to account in any significant way, to bypass the long-held rules about protecting government information under the Espionage Act. But she's above the law, and she apparently is. I've been reading some stupid columns by the likes of Bret Stephens and our good friend Judge Napolitano trashing the hell out of the FBI director. I don't like this FBI director. I have no special brief for this FBI director. But he had an obligation, whether those folks think so or not. Once he told Congress his investigation was closed and there was no information he was aware of that would reopen it. With a very passive letter, very short letter, really a few sentences that mattered, telling the Republican chairman of these committees and their ranking Democrat members that they may have come across pertinent information and they were looking into it. And for that, Mr. Napolitano says that Comey is J. Edgar Hoover. That's pathetic. That's dramatic and pathetic and provocative. Bret Stephens, we have a great piece in Conservative Review about Bret Stephens. Bret Stephens is your obsessed conservative hater. He's trashed Ted Cruz. He's trashed Rand Paul. Rising lights in the Republican Party and the conservative movement. He trashes talk radio. And now, of course, he trashes Comey. Not so much because Comey did what he did, but because he was very offended that Comey, during the Bush administration, objected to the NSA program or some such thing. He's got a long list of hating certain individuals. And so his piece today, Comey should resign, as one writer put it in Conservative Review. Actually, Mr. Stephens should resign from the Wall Street Journal. He's pathetic and he's an embarrassment. It is amazing to watch this election season, the establishment Republicans posing as conservatives. Conservatives who were endlessly backing the likes of McCain and Romney, not at the end, like some of us, because we wanted to stop Obama, but from the beginning. Now posing as conservative purists, a word that I reject, but a word that's in use. Lecturing you and me, who have only one wish here, and that is to stop Hillary Clinton and to do some damage control. Many of us who supported other candidates. In fact, In fact, the overwhelming majority of Republicans who supported other candidates. And the candidate I supported, Ted Cruz, came in number 2. But that's the past. Now we've got to deal with tomorrow. That is Tuesday. And I want to ask you a question. I asked it before, and I'm going to ask it again. I'm not interested in the headbangers and the rest who keep writing about how brilliant they are and how pathetic you and I are. I want to ask you a question. On election night, when you're watching the returns, in your heart, who do you really want to win? And who do you really want to lose? Who do you really want to win, and who do you really want to lose? What do you really think is in the best interest of your nation? It's your nation. What do you really think is in the best interest of your children and your grandchildren? As a constitutional conservative, as a Tea Party activist, as a Reaganite, what do you think is really in the best interest of your nation and your family? Even though you may not have a candidate in this race, is it not, in fact, the defeat of Hillary Clinton and all that means? Whether it's the Supreme Court or education, immigration, law enforcement, the United States military, disastrous foreign policy, the economy, jobs. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, you can answer that question. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Let me try and explain something to Mr. Napolitano, who was a Superior Court judge in New Jersey. Very nice guy. And Mr. Stevens, the ratfink over there at the Wall Street Journal. Very nasty, evil guy. In the normal course of a presidential election, one of the candidates is not under the investigation of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. In the normal course of a presidential election, one of the candidates' staffers are not under investigation during the course of a presidential election. In the normal course of a presidential election, one of the candidates hasn't used an unsecured server through which classified information is flowed, despite her denials to the public, requiring an investigation by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. In the normal course of a presidential election, a top staffer to a presidential candidate did not conceal, wittingly or unwittingly, information related to an ongoing FBI investigation this summer, only for the FBI to later determine that there was information on that laptop that she and her pervert husband shared. To compare Mr. Comey, for whom I have no brief, to J. Edgar Hoover, or to say that he is intentionally trying to influence an election is a disgrace. No. He reported to Congress in a letter that, in essence, they were reopening the investigation due to more information that came about. Now, let's take the reverse view, okay? Is it now the policy of the Department of Justice and the FBI, as Mr. Napolitano would have it be, or Mr. Stevens would have it be, or Hillary Clinton would have it be, and all the rest of the surrogates out there for Hillary Clinton, is it now the position that during the course of a presidential election, once a candidate announces that investigations that are ongoing, that investigations that are triggered, that investigations that are reopened should not occur, or they should occur in secret, at exactly the time when the American people have to make a decision about the character and motives and integrity of the person who's going to be President of the United States and Commander-in-Chief and, overall, the person in charge of the executive branch, including the Department of Justice and the FBI. Is that now the position, honestly, that we're supposed to take? Now, that is preposterous. At least confess, at least admit that this is a little bit more complicated than your stupid columns. But you can't. And you won't. And I've been extremely critical of Mr. Comey. His first press conference, I was critical of Mr. Comey because he laid out a case for indictment. Now, when will we read an article, a column, by Mr. Stevens, those of us who even care to, which aren't many, or Mr. Napolitano demanding that Loretta Lynch resign? Loretta Lynch, a political appointee who has obstructed an investigation into the Clinton Foundation. Loretta Lynch, who met with Bill Clinton in Phoenix on the tarmac during the course of this investigation. Loretta Lynch, who insisted that Mr. Comey not update members of Congress, the chairman of the committees and the ranking members, even though he had reopened the investigation after having said a few months ago he had no information during testimony that would cause him to reopen the investigation. Why isn't Loretta Lynch under fire from Mr. Napolitano or Mr. Stevens? From Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton? Because she, to me, is the problem. She, to me, is the issue. Let me suggest to you Democrats and leftists out there, maybe if you wouldn't nominate somebody who's so thoroughly corrupt and devious, somebody who is capable of violating federal law, including the Espionage Act, maybe if you wouldn't nominate somebody like this, we wouldn't be in this position now, would we? I'll be right back.
Levin, America's passionately cerebral voice. Talk with that voice now. 877-381-3811.
I don't know if Hillary will win or not, but those of us who seek to stop her, we better not get cocky because the polls move here and there. This isn't about polls. It's not even about the popular vote. It's about battleground states. And unfortunately, the Democrats have been very effective of changing the electorate, so it's harder and harder to win. So Hillary may win, she may not. She may win big, she may win small, she may not win at all. Gee, I sound like Jesse Jackson there. But I do know this. She's a shoo-in if conservatives do not vote for Trump. She's a shoo-in. Even if we vote for Trump, she might win. But if we don't step up, I know for sure that she will win. And I think that's very important to understand. Trump doesn't come on this show. I don't talk to Trump. As I've told you before, it really has nothing to do with Trump. Even though when you look at what he's campaigning on, I think we conservatives have done a pretty damn good job of holding his feet to the fire on many issues, whether he's reliable or not. But Hillary Clinton is an ideologue, and she has made it abundantly clear, taking position on issues too, exactly what she intends to do. And for the Democrats, they will do it with or without Congress, with or without the courts. They'll just do it. Now, yesterday, I gave you my opinion on why these elections are increasingly difficult. The Democrats have done three things, I said, that make it difficult for a Republican to win the presidency. Not impossible, but it may be impossible down the road, and not that far down the road, maybe even this election. But I want you to listen to this because I think it's important. Here's what I said yesterday. Cut one, go. The Democrats have done three things as a matter of strategy over the course, I would say, of the last 20 years, give or take, which has put them in the position now of more blue states to start with than red states, and red states turning to purple states. This is something they put into place and something the Republicans have allowed to their own detriment, because the Republicans are not strategic. They're buffoonish. They've done three primary things that makes it increasingly difficult for a Republican to win the presidency. And I remember when Reagan won the presidency, they were saying Republicans are going to win the presidency as far as the eye can see. And then the Bush clan took over. Then the establishment came back in. Rather than build on Reaganism, we have Bushism. Three things the Democrats have done. Early voting. So rather than people actually turning out on Election Day, making somewhat of an effort, voting on that day and so forth, maybe I'll vote today, maybe I won't vote today, early voting for the lazy. But they determined that that would increase their numbers. Trying to eliminate voter ID laws throughout the country. It is a party that relies on fraud as much as possible to win elections. That's how John Kennedy became president. That's how LBJ became a senator. And there are other examples as well. So all the talk, well, there aren't rigged elections. Well, there have been rigged elections in the sense that elections have been bought and ballot boxes have been stuffed. Kennedy's presidency, Johnson winning the Senate, and there are other examples. So early voting, weakening voting standards and requirements, and the third, which is the biggest, unbridled immigration. Unbridled immigration not from advanced industrial societies, but from the third world, where it's easier to make emotional arguments in foreign languages to secure votes. From the third world, where many people have never experienced the civil society. I'm not putting down people from the third world. I'm telling you what the Democrats have done. And the fact is, for most third world areas in the world, people who come here vote Democrat. Well, WikiLeaks revealed liberal money's long-term strategy to control public opinion and secure advantageous demographics. This came out this morning, 1:07 a.m. today, Eastern Time. Peter Hassan, associate editor, Daily Caller, revealed a leaked memo from current Clinton campaign chair John Podesta to a handful of liberal billionaires in late 2007. Lays out the long-term progressive strategy to dominate American politics by creating an echo chamber to control public discourse and changing American demographics to make them more advantageous, quote-unquote. The memo, found in one of thousands of Podesta emails published by WikiLeaks, underscores just how involved big money is in the inner workings of the political left. Equally important, it lays bare what has been a largely successful effort by progressives to control public discourse, change American demographics, and divide the electorate by categories, race, gender, age. The memo went out to several major Clinton donors, including George Soros, Peter Lewis, Steve Bing, and Herb and Marion Sandler, giving them a preview of an upcoming September 27, 2007 meeting between the donors and Podesta, who was president of the Soros-funded Center for American Progress at the time. By the way, these left-wing billionaires, I must say, are much more philanthropic, supportive of nonprofit organizations and so forth on their side than are conservative and Republican billionaires when it comes to little legal groups like Landmark Legal Foundation. We go begging. We have to beg and beg and beg for donations in order to cobble together enough money for a small organization to sue the EPA, to sue the Labor Department, to sue the IRS, things that we have done. It's incredible to me how much better organized the left is, including their billionaires, and how much more willing they are to support efforts. And we're going to need legal groups like Landmark Legal Foundation and a whole bunch of them in order to fight what's coming, What's on the horizon? It goes on. Our meeting in New York brings together the most generous funders of progressive causes and progressive infrastructure in the country. We sit in September 2007 in a much different position than August 2003, when the same group literally jump-started an independent effort to change course in this country. The memo lists a number of strategic goals for progressive elites in 2008 and the years following. Now, among them, voter registration efforts, a ploy to get progressive voters to the polls. The memo suggests that voter registration efforts by nonprofit groups are really just a ploy to get progressive voters out to the polls. Quote, nonpartisan voter registration can be highly effective in delivering progressive voters to the polls. The Sandler family, this is a quote, and OSI are already deeply involved in funding organizations to do this work in communities of color and with respect to unmarried women. See, not Americans, but communities of color and unmarried women. That's how they treat us. You're a community of color, you're a community of no color, you're a married woman, you don't get funded, the unmarried, this is how they operate. Securing advantageous demographics, this is the key. Another goal of progressive elites, according to the memo, is to, quote, ensure that demographics is destiny. You hear that? Quote, an emerging progressive majority is a realistic possibility in terms of demographic and voting patterns, but it is incomplete in terms of organizing and political work. Women, communities of color, highly educated professionals are core parts of the progressive coalition. Nationally and in key battleground states, their influence is growing. Latinos and young voters are quickly solidifying in this coalition as well. A section titled The Theory of the Case notes that Democrats should be focused on securing advantageous demographic and geographic trends, making the best use of existing strengths, continuing to encourage innovation and organizing, and so forth. And, of course, immigration is the heart of this effort. Hence the endless push for so-called comprehensive immigration reform. And the endless push by establishment Republicans who don't much care about the principles and the culture in the country as long as they retain power and can influence this, that, or the other thing that they care about personally. And so this is really an effort that has been quite successful in states like Colorado and Nevada and California. California, the Republicans have no hope of winning at the presidential level. None. The state that delivered us the most conservative, popular, successful president who won 2 massive landslides. They took over California. George H.W. Bush, as I mentioned the other day, won California. And no Republican has won it since. Nor is it likely. Because unbridled immigration, legal and illegal, has utterly and completely turned that state into a one-party state. Truly incredible in just a couple decades. And the focus, ladies and gentlemen, in this memo, and as I said yesterday, before knowing anything about this, but it's so obvious, is to do the same thing to other states, to go right to the heart of the South into these red states. So now North Carolina is a purple state. Virginia is a purple state. That wasn't true 10, 12, 14 years ago. If we can't hold states like Virginia and North Carolina, we can't win, period. They're trying to do exactly the same thing right now to Texas and Florida. If we can never win Florida, it's over. If we can never win Texas, it's over. Well, you know, Mark, we can appeal to people based on our arguments. You can't appeal to people based on our arguments if they don't speak English and if they're illiterate in their own home language. They can't possibly understand American principles and the American founding and heritage when we're explaining the Declaration and the Constitution. It won't matter, particularly when the left is waving goodies in front of everybody's faces. You can't win that battle. That's why these elections have become so important. And then let me tell you one other thing. For those of us who are going to lead an effort for Article 5 Convention of States, we're going to duke it out on principles and ideas within our family, and we're going to push for what the framers and the ratifiers said was the only way out, Article 5. And the reason is this. We cannot sit on the edge of our chair if, in every single presidential election, and expect to win every single presidential election. And you know, we have to win every single presidential election if we're going to stop the left. And it's an impossibility. So, here we are operating within their box, under their rules. No rules apply to them. All the rules apply to us. And we act as if Donald Trump is going to... You ought to hear the Trump supporters, the ones that are way out there. He's going to save us. No, he's not. Neither is Ted Cruz. Neither is Rand Paul. None of them are going to save us. We're too far gone. There's only one way to save us, quote unquote. That's by getting our republic back, restoring the Constitution through Article 5. And if we don't get behind this movement and get behind it aggressively and quickly, that'll be gone too, because we won't have the state legislatures necessary to really get this thing rolling. We'll lose them too. We'll become a one-party country, like California's a one-party state. Then what? I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
You know, a lot of people I respect are out there slogging through this, slamming away. Victor Davis Hanson over at National Review. The way he writes about Trump, it's not the Trump I know. And he's admonishing the never Trump types. That's fine. There's only like 3%. There's a great piece in Investors Business Daily about this. Keep talking about the never Trump people. They're a tiny, tiny fraction of a fraction. That's why I talk to fellow conservatives who aren't sure what they're going to do. If you're dug in and you're going to attack people like me, you're basically a Leninist. That's what you are. You're using the same tactics. So you're irrelevant. We don't care about you. You're marginalized. But let's not pretend that Donald Trump is the second coming of Ronald Reagan, because he's not, or the second coming of James Madison, because he's not. He is the person through whom which, under our system, we seek to stop Hillary Clinton. I also love hearing all these guys who've never left academia or who became extremely rich as hedge fund types and so forth, telling us what it's like to work on a factory line. Have any of them worked on a factory line, by the way? I don't think so. It's not like they're Eric Hoffer, a longshoreman, the great Eric Hoffer, a great philosopher. I don't know why they have to get into this class warfare stuff like they are the second coming of Pat Buchanan. We need to be talking about liberty. We need to be talking about capitalism, and we need to project it into everyday lives. That's how we talk, I think, to our fellow Americans. What we need here is some liberty. What we need here is to be left alone. What we need here is to end the social engineering. What we need here is to be unleashed by from the EPA, from the Agriculture Department, from the Energy Department, from the Education Department. What we need is to reject the radical left's social agenda. We need to attack the statist progressives. We just haven't done it. We don't even explain it. If you want to learn about the character required to keep America free, but what your part is, then Hillsdale College is ready to help. You see, Hillsdale's not a typical college. Its great president, Dr. Larry Harn, has explained Hillsdale's mission so that the college now teaches everyone who wants to learn, regardless of age or where you are in life. That's why 1.5 million have taken a free online course on the Constitution, economics, or American history. It's why 3.5 million have a free subscription to Imprimis, featuring the best speeches of conservative thought. That's most of you in my audience. Yes, Hillsdale has students at their beautiful campus in Michigan. They're a special bunch. Their average ACT score is over 30. They study in 31 different majors and minors. Hillsdale teaches the principles of self-government, how to think critically and independently, how to recognize and pursue the good, true, and beautiful. Americans must know these things in order to preserve freedom. That's the point. Go to levinforhillsdale.com, Levin for Hillsdale.com. If you missed out on such teaching in your life, start learning today about the character that freedom requires. Visit levinforhillsdale.com. That's Levin for Hillsdale.com. If we had a strong and growing economy, if we truly had a free market capitalist system, which we haven't had in a very long time, rather than over 12,000 tariffs, if we could put down the bureaucracy, thin it out, get rid of massive regulations, if we could slash taxes and have either a flat tax or a fair tax, if we allowed or pushed Congress to put the courts in their proper place, since Congress can do such with district and circuit courts, and on and on and on, if we would follow the rules in the Constitution, this would be a free, prosperous, and happy people.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. You ever notice how the prosecutors never get to Hillary Clinton, but they always seem to get to the people around her? Like now, Abaddon's under the gun. Shouldn't Hillary be under the gun? The FBI director's under the gun. Shouldn't the Attorney General be under the gun? But truthfully, Hillary has triggered all this. But for Hillary's conduct, her effort to cover up her pay-for-play involving the Clinton Foundation and her use of official business to try and service major donors, for the purpose of having this unsecured private server and going around law enforcement, going around Congress, going around Freedom of Information Act requests, operating in the shadows, none of this would be going on. Mr. Napolitano, Mr. Stevens, Mr. Obama, and all the rest. Well, you know, Mark, she still has a right to due process. Who said she doesn't? Well, it's wrong to be revealing all this information about investigation. Well, the subject of the investigation thought it was absolutely swell back in July. She wanted to have her name cleared. Well, you don't increase the problem by then going back to Congress and updating with information. But you have to make a choice. It's a little bit more complex than that, isn't it? New evidence, certainly new information. They reopened the investigation. And the last of Mr. Comey's testimony was that the investigation was closed and nothing was going to reopen it. At least it was an ethical quandary for the man. It's not black and white. Wow, he must be J. Edgar Hoover. Or the idiot Brett Stevens. Comey should resign. Cruz sucks. Rand Paul sucks. Trump sucks. This one, that one, that one. What a buffoon. So Comey should resign. If Comey was going to resign, he should have resigned in July. Not now. But what about Loretta Lynch, the cover-up artist, the obstructor? Why aren't there calls for her resignation, as I've been calling for her resignation? Well, this is the mess we get with a Clinton presidency. This and 1,000 other knives, when the country can ill afford this. With our enemies on the move, with the economy on its back. We can ill afford this. And the Democrat Party coughed up another loser as its nominee. Democrat Party gave us John Kerry. Thankfully, he was defeated. Democrat Party gave us Barack Obama. And there he is, destroying America one day at a time. Now, the Democrat Party coughed up an individual who was under investigation by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And everybody was supposed to stop everything they were doing, or at least not make anything public, because Hillary Clinton has decided to run for president. And so then I guess she's above the law. No, you don't understand. They can keep investigating in secret. She's a candidate for president of the United States. This isn't about Hillary Clinton. It's about the American people. When you throw your hat in the ring, when you decide to be nominated by your party, when you decide you want to be elected president of the United States, the people have one shot at this. On November 8th. Well, she's not below the law. She put herself in this position. She decided to run. She skirted the rules. She violated the Espionage Act, in my humble opinion. Perfectly happy with an FBI announcement when she claimed it cleared her. No talk about violating rules by Hillary Clinton then. She's the subject of the investigation. But now that it's reopened, now it's all unethical. Now the rules have been violated. Now he has to resign. The reason why Mr. Comey is a disaster is because he didn't do this by the numbers. And I've talked about it, and I was the first to explain it over and over and over again. No grand jury. They didn't go through the usual routine that would apply to Ernie and Nancy and Frank and Abdullah and everybody else. She got special treatment. She got special treatment. It's not like she was singled out for a harsher treatment. She got special treatment. Hillary Clinton knew exactly what she did with these servers. Hillary Clinton knew there was classified information in her emails on these servers. She knew all this, despite her lies. She's a lawyer. They say she's sharp. They say she's a good lawyer. She sat on the Foreign Affairs Committee in the United States Senate and the Intelligence Committee. She knows intelligence. Remember that? Secretary of State, you're briefed into these programs? She knew what she did, so she was in full cover-up mode, trying to cover up the cover-up. Trying to cover up the fact that there was, a connection between the Clinton Foundation and her official duties. And now we're all supposed to, oh my goodness, the rules, they apply to her too, after all, there's due process. So she was perfectly happy. Well, Mr. Comey broke the rules the first time. Unhappy the second time, because it reopened this investigation. The fact that the Democrat Party nominated her doesn't mean we have to accept this. And we shouldn't. The Democrat Party has a responsibility in this, too. If they hadn't nominated her, none of this would be going on. They could have nominated the old communist. Then we'd have a battle of ideas. But they didn't. They nominated the newer communist. They nominated Hillary Clinton. And there'll be a heck of a lot more of this. Now, we'll get back into these things and so forth. There's apparently a mole, by the way, over there at the Justice Department. Well, in fact, let me take this on now. Let me take this on now and get to another matter. You're not going to want to miss this, the entirety of this show. There's just a lot to get to. Our friend Robert Eno over at the Conservative Review, where I'm editor-in-chief, and I mention that just so people think, well, you never mention your editor-in-chief. Well, yes, I did. Today's 25th installment of the WikiLeaks emails contained a blockbuster. The Assistant Attorney General for Congressional Relations. Now, this is a person who will be nominated by Barack Obama. Peter Kadzik, K-A-D-Z-I-K, used his Gmail account to inform John Podesta. He's the hack, goon, chief of everything for the Clintons all the time, of next steps in the Justice Department's Clinton email investigation. Kadzik is now reportedly heading up the review of documents and emails seized from Anthony Weiner's computer. Here's what the May 19, 2015 email from Kadzik said. There is an HJC oversight hearing today, House Judiciary Committee, where the head of our civil division will testify, likely to get questions on State Department emails. Another filing in the FOIA case went in last night, or will go in this AM, that indicates it will be a while, 2016, before the State Department posts the emails. There you have it. As Eno points out, an Assistant Attorney General gave the campaign chair of a presidential candidate under investigation by the FBI a heads up on next steps related to that investigation. On top of that, he is the one who sent a letter to Democratic congressmen saying that the Department of Justice was adding additional resources to the Weiner computer investigation. Now, who is this guy Kadzik? As Eno points out, we've learned in WikiLeaks emails that he is a very good friend of Clinton campaign chair Podesta. Here's how the Daily Caller reported their relationship last month. The day after Hillary Clinton testified in front of the House Select Committee on Benghazi last October, John Podesta, the Democrats' campaign chairman, met for dinner with a small group of well-connected friends, including Peter Kadzik, a top official at the Justice Department. The dinner arrangement, revealed in hacked Podesta emails released by WikiLeaks, is just the latest example of an apparent conflict of interest between the Clinton campaign and the federal agency charged with investigating the former Secretary of State's email practices. What do you think about that, Mr. Napolitano? What do you think about that, Mr. Stevens? Could this be why the FBI director felt boxed in by Maine Justice? According to the Washington Free Beacon, Kadzik has previously donated to several Clinton initiatives, including Hillary's 2008 campaign. And up until now, WikiLeaks emails between Podesta and Kadzik only showed a friendship. And the fact that Podesta claims Kadzik, quote, kept me out of jail. Today's dump by WikiLeaks shows that Kadzik was in fact providing the Clinton inner circle with information regarding the email investigation, writes Eno. Not only was Kadzik providing this information, but he did it through his personal, not governmental email address, likely to hide it from the National Archives. Kadzik should immediately be taken out of his role in this investigation. The American people deserve an impartial Department of Justice. Will he be? Well, all the geniuses, the pseudo-conservatives and alike, will they be demanding that? Don't hold your breath. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
You know, if you're CEO of a corporation or you're chairman of the board, you are held civilly and criminally responsible for the conduct of your executives, or even beyond. These are the new rules. by the SEC, by the Justice Department. You have to have these audit committees and these other things going. You are held personally liable for the misconduct of your reports. Is Hillary Clinton going to be held personally liable for anything? No. I am sick and tired of this game that we play. That poor Hillary's not treated fairly. Poor Hillary is screwing the country. Poor Hillary is screwing the State Department. Poor Hillary is screwing the FBI. I am sick and tired of this notion that poor Hillary Clinton, woe is me, making tens of millions of dollars, playing insider-outsider, private sector, government sector. And what the hell has she done for the nation? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. It's all about Hillary. Then we have these idiots, supposed conservatives, right? Oh, my, poor Hillary, look at this. She's so put upon. It's so terrible what's done to Hillary. Get lost. Hillary. And look at her plans, what she intends to do to us in this country. So destructive. Oh, Hillary, poor Hillary. Hillary should be in prison. She should have been in prison a long time ago. What, they're going to send Huma Abed into prison? Going to send Huma Abed into prison? Look, I don't care about her. But the fact of the matter is, there wouldn't be any of this crap on her laptop but for Hillary Clinton and her unsecured server. So she'll go to prison and Hillary Clinton will be president? The hell is that? Well, here we are. Welcome to a once great country that's turning into a banana republic. Thanks to the left. Really, thanks to the left. And the impotent Republicans that don't stand up to this. And don't give me this nationalist progressive bull crap. Oh, we're all going to be like Andrew Jackson. Really? What are we going to do? Go into the Indian reservations? What exactly are we going to do as Andrew Jackson? Oh, you know, he was a populist nationalist. Oh, who gives a damn? Andrew Jackson did such damage to the economy. The greatest depression in American history followed. It hit his vice president, Martin Van Buren. Poor Martin Van Buren, big dummy. He was left holding the bag. We can get into that another day. Who cares, really? It's rather boring. What I was going to tell you earlier is this. You better watch the day after the election. And I talk about this at great length tonight on Levin TV. You better watch the day after the election. Because Obama's going to rain hell on the American people. This bureaucracy is bursting at the seams to push out the most onerous, horrific, monstrous regulations. Economically crushing, centralizing more and more government and decision-making, and they are holding back until after this election because that's what they do. And Obama knows he'll never be held to account. He'll wrap himself in self-congratulations. Man of the people, using the bureaucracy to impose his will. And our allies better watch out, too, especially Israel, because Obama's going to go to the UN, and either through a speech or more, he's going to harm Israel, because that's always been his goal. Nobody can sit in the audience and listen to Jeremiah Wright for 20 years. Nobody can befriend Professor Khalidi of Columbia, formerly of Chicago, related to the Hamas group. And, of course, we know what Wright is. Nobody can do that for all those decades. And then come out of that being a believer in a free country like Israel. Obama's a hater. He's a hater. And just because there's enough schmucks in my community, the Jewish community, doesn't mean I don't see it. We all see it. And so mark my words, I'll put the marker down now. After this election, Obama's going to be on the move. He is going to unleash holy hell on the American people through the executive branch, through the bureaucracy. Now, you backbenchers tomorrow, you go ahead and repeat what I just said and pretend that you're brilliant. But get the word out there, because that's exactly what's going to happen. Education Department, Interior Department, EPA, the Energy Department. It's never going to end. It's going to be massive. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin, the George S. Patton of Talk Radio. Call him at 877-381-3811. That's 877-381-3811.
Holy but a goodie. You know, guys, especially some of the younger professionals listening out there, it's important to look and dress professionally at work. People around you take notice. This is why you've got to check out Charles Tyrrett. Charles Tyrrett, C-T-shirts. Every man's closet needs well-fitted clothes for work or going out. So what are the options? On one end, you have high-quality shirts, but they're really, really overpriced. On the other end, you've got affordable shirts, but they're out of style. They don't fit right. C-T-shirts. C-T-shirts are the best shirts in my closet. The most exquisitely crafted, crease-free shirts. They're British-styled and use the softest fabrics. Tie or no tie, tucked or untucked, you're going to look great in a CT shirt. Now check out this deal that I got for you. One CT shirt normally costs $100. One's normally $100, but right now you'll get 3 shirts for $99. 3 shirts for $99. That's 60% off. CT shirts come with free delivery, a 6-month quality guarantee. Who does that? Nobody except CT. And free returns. Let me repeat it. CT shirts come with free delivery, a 6-month quality guarantee, and free returns. $99 gets you 3 amazing CT shirts, but you need to hurry. Go to ctshirts.com/Levin. ctshirts.com/Levin. That's ctshirts.com/Levin. This is a perfect Christmas gift, Hanukkah gift, birthday gift, or for guys out there, every day. Really, $99, you get these 3 amazing CT shirts, but you need to hurry. That's ctshirts.com/Levin, Levin. All right. We put a lot on the table, and there's a lot more to put on the table, but let's digest what we have. Let's go back to our friend that I wanted to hold over from yesterday, our man Jose, Grand Rapids, Michigan, the great WJRW. How are you, Jose?
Hey, thank you very much. What an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I think where we left was that I wanted to bring out the point of how disconnected the elites of the parties are with the average person, and how they really do not understand the Hispanic, the so-called Hispanic community. Going by the comments of Mr. Johnson and also the top leadership of the GOP.
The comments of Mr. Johnson, where he flips out when Guy Benson, a wonderful columnist over at Town Hall, asked him about illegal immigrants, and he flips out and says, no, undocumented, and goes on and on and on. But go ahead.
Well, exactly. Majority of people in the Hispanic community are not offended by that term. This is a narrative that has been established by the Democratic Party, And for the longest time, the Democratic Party has had to try to homogenize and to racialize the Hispanic community into a conglomerate, into an easily to handle group for electoral purposes. But they can't, because the Hispanic community is very, very diverse, not only racially and ethnically and nationally and in terms of beliefs, but diverse in every possible way. It would be like trying to do the same for all Americans. The majority of Hispanic...
So let me just slow you down. It's like any other community.
Latino is a term that has been coined for precisely that purpose of trying to gather everyone into...
Can I slow you down? Can I slow you down, Jose, just 1 second?
Yeah.
Do you know who originally coined this phrase or this term? Nixon did.
Well, it has different...
Hold on, I'm going to tell you. Nixon did under the Census Bureau. What he decided was he wanted to duke it out with the Democrats because they kept using blacks, African Americans as a group against Republicans. So in the Census Bureau, they ordered that they would start to group people from different parts of Central and South America as a single nomenclature. And that's how that actually happened.
Well, exactly. But if people from Latin America don't consider themselves Latinos, that would be like second or third thing they would think of. First thing they consider themselves as is the identity of the country they come from, whether it's Cubans, Peruvian, Colombian, Argentinian, and so on. It is when they come to the States as immigrants, whether legal or not, that all of a sudden you're faced with that reality that you mentioned, that they want to put you in a category, and so you are immediately faced with a whole bureaucracy. I remember applying for a PhD program at a Ivy League university, and they didn't ask me what I wanted to study. The first thing they said to me, well, you're a person of color, you qualify for this and this and that, and you are a Latino, so you qualify for this and I was stunned because that's the last thing I was thinking about. I was thinking about me. I mean, I want to apply for a PhD program, even if I'm from Mars. That is irrelevant. Mm-hmm. But this effort to try to homogenize us into a into a voting bloc, it's becoming very, very obvious. And in the Hispanic community, there's actually more resentment toward that than any possible resentment to the term illegal immigrant.
And yet, Jose, there are people like Jorge Ramos at Univision and front groups like La Raza and LULAC and so forth that play right into this.
Well, they do, of course, and they get the share of the attention in the media. They have very powerful lobbies. They indeed control the narrative. But in the elections, I don't know, going back to Kennedy and the most recent ones, if we want to start with Bush, the average elections has been between 35 to 48% of the Hispanic voting Republican. So this myth that all Hispanics are offended and insulted because you call things for what they're named, calling illegal immigration, it's a lie. It's not true. It is ginned up. It is programmatic. There is an interested group of people who want to control the narrative. People like Jorge Ramos, who has. I was editor of a language editor for a Hispanic magazine for 5 years. I've worked in the Hispanic community at the church level, community level. So, I mean, I'm very, very in tune with the Hispanic community and also in social media. The split is quite big. I would say 45 to 55% either way. So there are many supporters of the Republican Party philosophy, if it exists still. And this idea that the Hispanic community is a voting bloc that is racial, it's absolutely absurd. Actually, like I said before, that it's more offensive to Hispanics. The thought that they can be herded into a political a voting bloc.
Well, Jose, that was very edifying. I much appreciate that. And call us again, will you?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Take care of yourself. I appreciate it. Very, very thoughtful gentleman there. Let us continue. Jessica, Redondo Beach, California, 8:70 a.m. The Answer, our great affiliate there. Go.
Yes. Hi, guys. I was listening to Jose.
Talk right into the mouthpiece there because we're having a little trouble hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
That's better, yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little sick. I'm with a cold. But anyways, I'm a school teacher, and I immigrated from Peru. However, I wanted to say that I do agree with Jose. I don't understand who has created this division, because there's a lot of immigrants who we do get offended when, for instance, said, well, those illegal immigrants, and all those people that immigrate into the country, they all come with a different state of mind and different goals in life. And definitely, yes, I believe that everybody has a goal for a better future. However, once they get here, there is a lot of that the country has to offer. So a lot of people start getting really comfortable, and that's where I have a problem with people that immigrate into this country.
So why do, and the statistics are what they are, why do 75, 70, 65% in a good Republican presidential election cycle, Central and South Americans, let me put it that way, vote Democrat? Because you're saying they come into the country and immediately you have the government and others offering them benefits, and then they realize, like anybody else would, that, wow, let me go in this direction. I can get freebies.
Exactly. And I have a problem with that because I personally, I worked really hard. I paid my loans, and I went to school, and just as an example, when I went to school, I wanted to better myself, and I went and studied hard to learn the language, and I went to college and university, and I have a lot of friends that, yes, they came in at the same time I did. However, they chose a different route, live off the government, have kids, and I do have a problem with that. I do have a problem with people that settle for low. I would love to see people, not taking advantage of the government, rather helping to contribute to the country. I will vote for Trump, and not necessarily because, yes, I know that he's not a brushed-up politician. However, he has great ideas. And looking at the history, I feel that the Democrats have actually they have created.
The Democrats take people who come into this country. Those who come into this country who have an independent streak, who are motivated by freedom and so forth, and they try and crush their souls. That's what they do. They try and weigh them down with benefits, weigh them down with groupthink, weigh them down with balkanization, and they have funded front groups, like-minded radicals that are in these ethnic groups, and lawyers and so forth, to do their bidding. That's exactly what's going on. Jessica, what country are you from originally?
Peru.
Oh, you said Peru. That's right. All right. Welcome. Thank you. And we'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
The economy is not in good shape. Since we left the gold standard in 1971, total outstanding public and private debt soared by 40 times. Ask your financial advisor about that. By contrast, the GDP expanded by only 16 times. This is the big picture. The country's current ratio of debt to income is an unprecedented and dangerous departure from its historic norm. You can ignore this, just act like, invest in the market and invest in bonds and real estate and so forth, and suffer the consequences in the long run. Or you can diversify, and I mean by that thoroughly, fully diversify. Because the country's current ratio of debt to income is an unprecedented and dangerous departure from our historic norm. Now, what we got here is a result of money printing, perpetual Washington stimulus and bailouts, and that's why the market is where it is. According to David Stockman, former director of the Office of Management and Budget under President Reagan, the meltdown of 2008 was spring training for what's coming next. Ask your financial advisor about that. Now, if you believe like I do that something wicked this way comes, then call Goldline and acquire the recognized safe haven asset that has been valued as a storehouse of wealth for centuries, gold. You want to diversify? You want to know what products they offer? You want to know what terms under which they're offered? You want to know what it costs? Ask them. Goldline is the only gold company I trust. They've been in business since 1960. You stay in business for 55 years because you're the best and most transparent at what you do. Ask your financial advisor. Please call Goldline, 1-877-365-COIN. Don't wait. 1-877-365-COIN. Read Goldline's important risk information to see if buying gold is right for you. That's 1-877-365-COIN, 1-877-365-COIN. Now, only ask your financial advisor if they're any good. You've got to be careful how you choose a financial advisor. Some of them are hawking stuff. I don't know. Maybe even hawking themselves. You never know. You got to be very, very careful in anything you do, whether you're investing in real estate or the stock market or what have you. Use your noggin. But check out Goldline. Talk to them. Ask them any question you have. 877-365-COIN. 877-365-COIN. They have an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, by the way. All right, let's continue. Ivan, Potomac, Maryland, Sirius Satellite. How may I help you, sir?
Hey, Mark. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Fantastic. Hey, so the reason I'm calling is I heard a couple of the previous callers talk about the Hispanic vote and some of the issues that we're having. I just wanted to address that quickly.
So I take it you're Hispanic as well, then?
Yeah, I guess the name kind of gives it away, right?
What, Ivan? I think you're Russian. Anyway, go ahead. All right, we're going to move on. I can't hear you, Ivan. Call back another time. Carol, Las Vegas, Nevada, our great new affiliate, KDWN. Go.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, it's a good thing the other radio hosts do repeat what you say. Otherwise, other people would never learn anything.
Yeah, okay.
But also, you know what?
But you know what's funny? I'm trained as a lawyer, and when you're a lawyer, you need to do things in a proper way. So when you have a brief, when you file briefs, you have to cite the sources, the cases. You have to accurately, reflect what they say. I'm a longtime author. If you read my books, if you look at the back of the books, they are loaded with what we call endnotes or what would be footnotes, because I do everything I can to give credit where credit is due. And if I don't, it really is a mistake or an oversight. So it really, it's so petty and so self-serving when people are this pretentious. They push their chests out and they say what they've done and so on. And I don't even listen to them. People send me emails about this stuff. Anyway, enough of that. You go right ahead.
And I get that, and I understand it. But in a way, it's like, well, at least people get to learn something, because we certainly don't learn anything from the mainstream media. Which is another thing I wanted to say. We really, all of us, need to talk to everybody we see on the street, in the grocery store, the drive-through. Because, here's a good example. There's a girl at the drive-through. On Friday, we learn about the FBI reopening the investigation into Clinton's emails, right? On Monday, I see her, and I'm like, hey, did you hear about the FBI reopening the investigation? She had no clue. So, we are up against communication barriers. People just aren't getting the information.
You know what it is also? The culture has been so degraded.
Exactly.
And the attack on our constitutional system and the attack on the culture were simultaneous. That was John Dewey's plan. That was Woodrow Wilson's plan. You need to change the way that people think so that they think less. And so that's exactly what's taken place, and unfortunately it's taken hold.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to say one thing about this girl real quick, because I just kind of said to her one day, isn't this election crazy? And she said, yeah. And I go, like, do you know who you're voting for? And she goes, well, I think Clinton. I go, you're not sure? And I said, can I help you?
Yeah, right.
I couldn't have a conversation at the drive-thru, but I jotted down a few YouTube sites, videos, and websites and stuff to
Well,
check out.
you're terrific. You're an active, informed citizen, and we need more and more people like you, my friend. I got to run. Thank you. 1 hour left. Don't leave us. I shall return.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811, our final hour. Glad you're with us. This is the waterboarding section of the program where you get to hear from Barack, Milhouse, Hussein, Benito, Obama, among others. And he's in Columbus, Ohio yesterday, and in part, here's what he says. Cut 4, go.
And, by the way, I just want to say to the guys out there, I want to be honest. You know, there's a reason why we haven't had a woman president before. And I think that sometimes, you know, we're kind of trying to get over the hump.
What? Whoa. What? What the hell is he talking about now? What's going on in that pot-laced mind of his? There's a reason why we haven't had a woman president before. Now notice they use these things, these arguments, when it's their liberal candidates, never when it is a conservative candidate. Nobody said there's a reason why we didn't have a woman vice president before when Sarah Palin was running. No, of course not. And of course, when we have conservative blacks running for office or this, that, or that, no, that's not so you have to elect a liberal, you see, to overcome your bias against women. I am so sick and tired of this guy and sick and tired of this crap. Go ahead.
Ourselves as men, because I hope my daughters are going to be able to achieve anything they want to achieve.
Oh, your daughters will. You're going to be a very, very wealthy man. They will be treated like princesses, the way Chelsea Clinton was, and all the children and so forth, grandchildren are. So this isn't about you or your children for once. But, of course, in your mind, it always is. Go ahead.
And I know that my wife is not just my equal, but my superior.
Oh, yeah, right. Sure she is. That's why you play golf all the time. I've been wondering, does he play golf all the time because he likes his wife or he doesn't like his wife? Go ahead.
I want every man out there who's...
What is with the stuttering? What is that? I mean, we have our collection of mumblers, don't we, Mr. Producer? We'll get to that in a moment because Obama is one of our prominent mumblers. But let's go ahead.
Look inside yourself and ask yourself, well, if you're having problems with this stuff, how much of it is, that we're just not used to it?
Ah, shut up, you idiot. And you are an idiot. Rambling on like a fool. He doesn't believe a damn thing he's saying. Nothing. Just says it because it sounds good, because it's PC. What's wrong with you guys? You don't want to vote for a woman? Is that why you're against Hillary Clinton? Yeah, let's all suspend our minds. You know what? I hadn't thought about that. She's a woman? Yeah, she is? Yeah. Well, then, I'm going to vote for her. I looked in the mirror and I said, she's a woman, I'm going to vote for her. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, how do we know she's a woman? No, I'm serious about this, and I don't mean to be rude or provocative, and I ask in this context, haven't we been told now and lectured? Aren't our children being told that your biological genitalia is not actually who you are, it's what you think is between your legs? That's who you are? So I don't get it. So when it comes to the bathrooms and it comes to little kids showering and all the rest of it, it's not what you have biologically between your legs. It's what you have mentally between your ears. So if I embrace this insanity, I don't know if she's a woman or not. Has she self-identified? Until somebody self-identifies, it would be very stereotypical and prejudiced of me to identify for them. Now, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. Obama. Today. Cut 6. Go.
Were you yourself upset with the timing at all?
Well, I've made a very deliberate effort to make sure that I don't look like I'm meddling in what are supposed to be independent
FBI
processes for making these assessments. And I do think that there is a norm that, when there are investigations, we don't operate on innuendo. We don't operate on incomplete information. We don't operate on leaks. We operate based on concrete decisions that are made. When this was investigated thoroughly the last time, the conclusion of the FBI, the conclusion of the Justice Department, the conclusion of repeated congressional investigations was that she had made some mistakes, but that there wasn't anything there that was prosecutable.
Yeah, so no big deal. Espionage Act, no espionage. I don't know why they're looking at the Abaddon, just because her pervert husband had all this stuff on their shared lap. Hey, what's big deal? What's big? Can we move on, to like Trump's taxes or something? We can't discuss this stuff. Besides, she's a woman. And all these attacks on her is because she's a woman. That's it. Now, first of all, genius. Wasn't he a professor of law? And that's phony, too. He's never a professor of law. Guy looking for a job, they gave him an adjunct professor job. He knew somebody. It's not like he knows anything. No. So here's what happened, Mr. Professor. You see, new information comes forward. It wasn't an innuendo or a leak or anything of the sort. They had a warrant to go into this laptop, you see, Mr. Professor. Law professor, may I add? A warrant to go into this laptop because, you see, Ahmadin's husband is a sexual predator. Yes, predator, sexual predator. Much like Hillary Clinton's husband. You may have heard of him, too. Yes. And what happened here, Mr. Professor, is in the course of FBI agents in the Southern District going through the laptop that is shared by Weiner and Abaddon, they came across other emails, you see. And these other emails indicated that, there may be some government emails in there, maybe even potentially classified information. And so what happened, Mr. Professor, is these FBI agents, who I'm sure you support, as you have always supported law enforcement and the military, these FBI agents alerted Washington, the FBI, the J. Edgar Hoover building, alerted them, we may have a problem here. Houston, I think we have a problem. But anyway, you see, Mr. Professor, so then Mr. Comey, a couple of weeks ago, as I understand it, was trying to determine what to do. And your Attorney General tried to prevent him from informing Congress, even though he had informed Congress a few months earlier under questioning, as he was grilled, that there was no information that would cause him to reopen the investigation. But now he had information that causes him to reopen the investigation. Not innuendo, not leaks, not supposition, stuff. Real concrete, tangible things. So he alerts Congress. You may have heard of Congress. That's what we call the Article I branch of government, one of the three branches that has oversight of the executive branch. Yes. You see, they have pens and phones, too, over there. And he didn't tell them about anything substantive. No, he just told them there might be some pertinent emails. And then what they did is Sunday night, which comes after Saturday night, they went to a federal judge, a federal district judge. And they sought a warrant, which was accompanied by an affidavit, in which they asked the federal judge, an independent, life-appointed federal judge, for a warrant to investigate the emails, to examine them that may have classified information involving Huma Abedin, Hillary Clinton's chief of staff, deputy chief of staff, whatever she is. They follow the law, Mr. Obama, unlike you, who's constantly circumventing the Constitution. Got it, pal? Got it, genius? It's not about innuendo or leaks. No. That's what happened. Pure and simple. Now, why? Why did Hillary Clinton go through that? Why did she have this unsecured... Mr. Law Professor, why did Hillary Clinton have this unsecured server at her house, on the barn, in her modest mansion in Westchester, New York? Has it occurred to you to ask, Mr. Law Professor? Well, it's occurred to others, including Andy McCarthy, former federal prosecutor. Yes. And you know what he determined? His conclusion was Hillary set this scheme up so all of her interactions on behalf of the Clinton Foundation to enrich herself and her husband would not be on official State Department emails and server. In other words, she was trying to cover up her misdeeds. I'm waiting for Mr. Napolitano and Mr. Stevens to write about this. Yes. Are they concerned about this at all? No, I haven't seen them write anything about that. Has anybody else? No. Have any of these intrepid reporters asked Mr. Obama about this? No. Let's continue, shall we? Barack, Milhouse, Benito, Hussein Obama. Cut 7, go.
What we're hearing from them is that some of them are a little less likely to vote or support Secretary Clinton because of the new email review. This is something people are trying to figure out. Do you...
Oh, wait a minute. So all these millennials are sexist, too. Do they not know she's a woman? Oh, these young people must be sexist. Have they not looked in the mirror and asked themselves why we've never had a woman president? Unbelievable. Have they looked in the mirror and asked themselves why we've never had a president from, say, Wyoming? Have they? Have they looked in the mirror and asked themselves, and I don't know if we have or not, but I'm just asking. Because they're bigoted against Wyomingans. Go ahead.
Actual controversy.
Well, obviously it's become a political controversy. The fact of the matter is that Hillary Clinton, having been in the arena...
By the way, it's not Clinton. It's not Clinton. It's Clinton. Hillary Clinton. It's Clinton. Yes, go right ahead, please.
Years. Oftentimes gets knocked around, and people say crazy stuff about her, and when she makes a mistake...
Like she's not right in the head? I believe her staff said that, according to WikiLeaks emails. She's not right in the head? People say crazy stuff about this poor woman. Now, what is it, ladies and gentlemen? She's another leftist radical hack, an incompetent boob. So what is it? What is it? She can't stand on her own 2 feet and duke it out? We're going to have to fall back that she's under attack because she's a woman? This is what we got with Obama. Couldn't stand on his 2 feet and take the attacks? No, you're attacking him because he's a minority. Now you're attacking Hillary because she's a woman. Now give me a break. This country isn't about Obama or Clinton. It's about us. And it's about holding our officials to account, regardless of their genitalia or their skin pigmentation. It's not like Harry Reid has gotten a break from conservatives. Last time I checked, and believe me, I haven't, he's got what we call male genitalia. Last time I checked, he's got what we call Caucasian skin. So what is this crap? Go right ahead, please. Yes.
An honest mistake, it ends up being blown up as...
Not an honest mistake, you jerk. Now he says he doesn't want to interfere with the FBI. He's interfering. He's sending signals right now. Hey, boys and girls, get off her back. It's an honest mistake. Loretta, you heard me. You know what you're doing. But you didn't get it done. I told you. Not directly, but you know. Wink and a nod, body language, just like with the IRS. Just like with the Fast and Free. Just like with Loretta. You know. Our secret handshake. Or, remember, when I blink 3 times in a row, you know what to do. Yes, yes. Cover up, obstruction. Yes. Meanwhile, Obama's very, very busy defending the country, very busy doing all the... He's on the Tom Joyner radio show today. He's doing a big media outlet thing. Wants to get the vote out for Hillary because apparently Hillary can't get the vote out for herself. So here we are, Cut 9, the Tom Joyner radio show. Go.
Right now, the Latino vote is up. Overall vote.
Right now, the Latino vote is up. The man is from Hawaii. Is that how they say Latino in Hawaii? Right now, the Latino vote is up. Let's start from the top. Go right ahead.
Right now, the Latino vote is up. Overall vote is up. But the African-American vote right now is not as solid as it needs to be. And I know that there are a lot of people...
Look how they talk about groups based on race and ethnicity. It's not about individuals. Hey, you know, where's the Latino vote? There's no Latino vote. We're individual human beings, you jerk. Hey, where's the African-American vote? Excuse me? Is there like a block voting thing? Do we have representatives for ethnic and racial groups and all that? Hey, you vote for the Latinos, and you vote for the African-Americans. Go ahead.
The beauty salons, you know, in the neighborhoods who are saying to themselves, well, you know, we love Barack, we especially love Michelle. And
you know, this guy is so full of it, so full of himself, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Let's go to Cut 10. Go.
Right away, I guarantee you they'll dig up Michelle's garden.
That's messed up.
You think I'm joking?
You know what? I know that this guy gets the transcript of this program. Who said, Mr. Producer, they ought to take a bulldozer and take out that garden she's putting in there with cement and steel? Remember that? They're talking about it. No, I'm talking about it. The hell, you have a First Lady of the United States. She doesn't just have a garden and then go home. No. She has her pretend organic garden, which she never goes into. Because he's out there, you know, he's getting his hot dogs and his hamburgers and his ice cream. But anyway, this garden. And they literally bring in government contractors and employees to put a permanent garden at the White House. And I said, what the hell is that? They don't get to do that. Trump gets in there, they ought to move it. Can you believe that? They're actually talking about that. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Well, now we have Nancy Pelosi. I believe she self-identifies as a woman with woman genitalia. Cut 8, go.
I am an admirer of Comey in terms of what he has done in the past. I think he made a mistake on this, and he clearly has a double standard when it comes to Donald Trump and just keep him out of it. Just when it came to the hacking by the Russians, that the highest confidence of our intelligence community says the Russians did this. I know it privately because of being hacked by the Russians.
You were hacked by the Russians?
And he said it was too close to the election to talk about that.
Right.
And yet it's not too close to the election to talk about...
Why are you talking? Why are you talking in such a voice? Why aren't you roaring like Hillary? Why are you talking under your breath? What's that all about? I'll be right back.
More logic than allowed by law. The Mark Levin Show. Call now at 877-381-3811.
Man, I need 10 hours today. I really do. By the way, on election night, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern, and other times throughout the country, 3 to 6 p.m. Pacific and so forth, we will have wall-to-wall election coverage. We, Levinites, this community, I hope you'll stick with us. Or if you prefer, you can mute your TV channel and listen to my show. So I will be here those 3 hours, and we'll have some states that will be called or that will be coming in, called or not, during the course of this program. I will likely probably also have inside information on some of these exit polls. I will not do what other hosts do or what websites do, which is reveal everything so as to influence the vote in a negative way when it comes to defeating Hillary. So I will not do that. Moreover, you're going to hear people who know absolutely nothing about polls get on radio and TV and tell you about these polls. Ignore them and ignore what they're saying. Who cares about the polls at this point? You got to get out and vote. Your family has to get out and vote. Your friends and associates have to get out and vote. Polling's irrelevant. The polling is mostly important to the candidates so they can, whether the polls are defective or not, determine where they want to take their races. They have their own internal polls, and so they're of no consequence to you right now. None. So it's a lot of filler by people who don't know what else to talk about. And they'll go on, and they'll tell you, I think he's going to win, I think he's going to lose. At this point, I understand that 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 10 days ago. At this point, who cares? Right? Starlight. You know, it's no secret I love my sleeping on my Casper mattress. I wake up every day refreshed and energized, ready for a great day. You can have a great day, too, you know, when you upgrade to a Casper mattress. The Casper mattress was invented with 2 high-tech foams. It has all the support you need and guarantees you get the best night's sleep ever. Man, do I love my Casper. It's true. And it's not just me. It's not just me who loves Casper. Time magazine named it one of the best inventions of 2015. Casper ships for free in a box so small you won't believe it holds a mattress. You can try it for 100 nights, risk-free. They'll come pick it up if you don't love it. You will, but just in case. You don't love it as much as I do, they will pick it up. No questions asked. My suggestion, take your old mattress, lean it against the wall. You've heard me say this before. Many of you aren't doing it. Get your Casper, try it out. I'm guessing you're going to keep your Casper mattress. So go to Casper.com, Casper.com. Make sure you use my name, Mark, so you can get $50 towards the purchase of your mattress. That's Casper.com, code Mark, $50 towards the purchase of your mattress. Terms and conditions apply. We've got 6 human mattresses and 1 for Barney. They have dog mattresses, too. And they are absolutely exquisite. Barack Obama in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, campaigning on behalf of Hillary, who self-identifies, I believe, as a female. Cut 12, go.
You've got some Republicans in Congress who are already suggesting they will impeach Hillary. She hasn't even been elected yet. It doesn't matter what evidence, they'll find something. That's what they're saying already. How does our democracy function?
Shut up. You care about our democracy. Told you, he takes transcripts of this show. Somebody does. The geniuses in Congress who are bringing this up, well, they listen too. I've gone into the Constitution. I've talked about this. It's because, how does this happen in a democracy, Mr. Law Professor? It's when a political party is so thoroughly corrupt and destitute that it nominates somebody who's under criminal investigation, who violated the Espionage Act, who has used her offices to enrich herself and her husband. That's how it works. So something has to be available, and it is in the impeachment clause, to stop us from turning into a banana republic. You get it? No, you don't get it. Now, George Will, on ABC's Powerhouse Politics podcast yesterday, truthfully, nobody knows what the hell ABC's Powerhouse Politics podcast is, but there it is. It's out there somewhere. And, of course, now there's a war on conservative talk radio. Cut 13, go.
It depends partly on the size of Mr. Trump's defeat. If it's a narrow defeat, that's the worst conceivable outcome for Republicans, because then it will be the old stab-in-the-back theory that but for people like Paul Ryan or Ben Sass or lesser figures like George Will, all would have been well. If the Electoral College does its duty and vastly exaggerates the emphatic nature of the outcome, that is, Mrs. Clinton may win by 4 points, but well over 300 electoral votes, that would help the Republicans. But the Republican Party has to do several things. First, it has to somehow emancipate itself from its thraldom to the indignation industry of talk radio and certain cable personalities that I think have a paralyzing effect on the party when it tries to deal with things like immigration. Until the Republican Party gets right with minorities in this country, it's never going to win another presidential election.
Gee, it almost sounds like Mitch McConnell. So it's the fault of conservatives. Yeah, let me just say this about talk radio, and I will be talking about this more in the days and weeks and months ahead. There are many different personalities on talk radio, different IQ levels. Some shows are more substantive than others. Some hosts pretend to be cerebral. Some hosts are cerebral. Some hosts were in the bag for Trump from day one. Some hosts were not. There's a wide variety that goes on in talk radio. You have national hosts, you have regional hosts, you have local hosts. And what's happening is people like George Will, among others, are doing exactly what they're condemning. They're looking for, in my view, and I speak for myself, my own show, straw men. How did Trump get nominated? And speaking of looking in the mirrors, maybe they should look in the mirror. Trump got nominated because the Republican Party used the people and abused the people and lied to their voters and then attacked them. And after a while, people get sick of that. And I think a small percentage, 38% of the Republican Party, backed Trump, and 60-some-odd% backed other candidates. But when you look at the fact that you got Trump and Cruz, among others, who together got the bulk of the votes, this was resistance against this kind of cynical, tawdry, dishonest politics. Now, we have some people who are trying to exploit this and push this notion of Jacksonian nationalism, populism, which is not constitutionalism or federalism. And we're going to have that fight. I'm going to make sure of it after the election. I will continue to leave the forces of liberty as best I can on the radio. But this is my point. There's not a lot of goose-stepping going on in conservative talk radio. Matter of fact, a lot of the national hosts can't stand each other. Some of them are my friends. Some of them are just despicable. I can't stand them. And they seize on a couple of these local hosts, like this guy in Wisconsin. Suddenly he's Solomon. He's a rhino. So he's been a rhino. But I get requests all the time to go on TV shows, mainstream TV shows, network TV shows, cable TV shows, as well as radio shows, if I will attack my fellow radio hosts. If I want to attack my fellow radio hosts, I do it behind my own microphone. I'm not going to do it like some kind of dancing seal for liberals. And yet there are people in this industry who pretend to be conservative, who get on the air and just trash this industry left and right. When I talk about the Rockettes and the pom-pom boys and girls in radio who are backing Trump, that's a fact. But I don't attack the existence of talk radio. And I never will. Because the left and the establishment, Republican establishment, would like nothing more than to destroy us. And they could talk about ratings and audience size. Talk radio in the aggregate has tens of millions of listeners. You folks. And forget about even the radio. On digital platforms, tens of millions of listeners. Far more than the Fox News Channel. Far more than all cable TV put together. MSNBC, CNN, and Fox. And I understand why the Republican establishment hates people like me, because the feeling's mutual. I led the effort to get rid of John Boehner on this radio program. Nobody else. I led this effort. I've been leading the effort to defeat Mitch McConnell. Nobody else, because he needs to be defeated. I'm the one that brings on candidates for the Senate and House here. Whether it has any good, I don't know. So more and more of you are exposed to them. We are the ones who have used the power of this medium to pressure Congress against so-called comprehensive immigration reform, which has George Will upset. Long before any of these websites were involved in it, or any of these children who write for these websites were involved in it. I know why they hate me. Because we've taken this medium to a higher level. Because we'll talk about history. Your history. That is the nation's history. We have done more on this program to have a public discussion about our Constitution than has ever occurred before in this country. More of a discussion about the philosophy and philosophers who were relied on to give birth to this country than ever before in this country. Because we're apparently supposed to rely on the propagandists, the phony tenure professors at liberal Ivy League schools, and our government schools to do those sorts of things. Well, guess what? They don't. They don't. And neither does cable news or network news or satellite. They don't. I will. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
You know, arming yourself with a firearm isn't just a responsibility, even though it definitely is, but it's a right. It's your right. I take this right very seriously, which is why I'm a member of the United States Concealed Carry Association, USCCA, who's dedicated to protecting responsible gun owners. Now, I know you take your gun right seriously, too, which is why I want to let you know about something. I want to let you in on something that's big. The USCCA wants to give you $1,600 to buy one of 5 elite guns. I'm talking about high-quality pistols some of us only dream of owning, like the Sig Sauer 1911 Spartan and the Smith & Wesson M&P R8. But that's only 2 of them. Head over to defendthem.com, and see the entire list and pick out which elite gun you'll add to your arsenal. Oh, and 95 runner-ups will each win a USCCA range bag complete with eye and ear protection. That's 100 winners total, 100. I don't think I've ever seen better odds than that. So get your free entry by visiting defendthem.com. That's defendthem.com, where you can take home one of 5 elite guns. It's a wonderful organization, too. Check it out. It's there to serve you and represent you. Defendthem.com. Let's take a call. Let's see. Let's go to Alonzo. Alonzo, Los Angeles, 870 The Answer. How are you, sir? 870 a.m.
Mr. Levin, wow. What an honor to speak with you. You are truly one of my heroes. I just want to share with you that I was a big lib before, and one of my really good friends introduced me to you about almost 10 years ago, and I listened to you for the first time, and I'm now a conservative, and I've shared liberty and tyranny to my family. Well, I've actually translated it to my parents. My parents are Americans, U.S. citizens, and you know, I shared with them, you know, everything I've learned from you, my sister, my wife. You know, when they first heard of you, they didn't like you, but now they listen to you daily, and they're now conservatives. And as a matter of fact, my wife and my sister should be listening, but I just wanted to thank you and just say that, you know, this whole Latino thing and all this that the president does and the liberals do, you know, I'm an American. I was born in this country. My parents migrated from El Salvador by choice. They're U.S. citizens, and they're proud Americans. I'm a proud American. You know, whenever people ask me where I'm from, I never say I'm Salvadorian American. No, I'm an American. I was born here, and I love this country, and I have so much pride for this country. I have family members, cousins that serve in the military, and, you know, I'm proud, and just learning from you, it just, you know, it gives me hope, and I'm just so thankful for everything.
Well, let me say this, Alonzo, you are outstanding, absolutely outstanding. I would like to give to you, for you and your family, Levin TV for 1 year. So don't hang up. I know you're going to like it, and I much appreciate that. And this is why I say if Republicans were conservative and believed in these principles, and if conservatives were more articulate in expressing them in as many people as possible, we would win over a hell of a lot of people. We really would. Because in the end, people yearn liberty. And I want to thank Alonzo very much, our great affiliate, 870 AM The Answer. Let us continue. Ian, Long Island, New York, the great WABC. Go.
It's really depressing that so many people are willing to aid and abet a criminal organization like the Clintons run and put them into the highest office of our republic when there's 5 open investigations on them. I mean, it doesn't get much worse. And
Let's slow down. I want people to understand what you say is 100% accurate. There are 5 open investigations on this mob family and their tentacles. Go ahead.
And I really believe, like, their daughter, she worked her way up to that high position in journalism when she got that, what, it was like $1,600,000. That's the way the Clintons are. It's not on merit. It's not work-based, what you can do like Trump runs a business. It's, are you the right person for the job? You'll get the job. And you just look at Trump's history, and this is who the man we need in charge of building a wall. $12 billion, not like Jeb Bush said. It's almost $1 trillion. These are what these politicians.
Yeah, that was pretty stupid.
They steal money from us left and right, and then they just, you know, whether it's the Clintons, maybe you got to drain the cesspool because they're giving the alligators and the snakes all this bad rap with drain the swamp. Maybe it's a cesspool up there that needs draining.
All right, we appreciate your call, my friend. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a killer Levin TV tonight. I hope you'll check it out. Levin TV, we have a wonderful one. It'll be on in about 2 minutes, and we'll see you tomorrow on the radio. We salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, and emergency personnel. And by the way, 2 officers executed in Iowa. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this tomorrow. It deserves it. It needs it. I'll see you then.